Big thing that happened. Yes, it was the gloriousness of the first week of football. Saquon Barkley, man, as soon as the Eagles signed him in the offseason, I said it was going to happen, and it did. He was going to be a determining force in the game. 3 touchdowns later in the first week. That man proved me right. And today was Tom Brady's debut as an announcer. All right, welcome to this week's Be About It podcast. I know we're a week late. I got some new stuff, new everything. I got some new equipment, some fun things. Starting to expand a little, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoy the show. Yes, redecorated. No more green screen. You're seeing the live office, live for studio, live everything. So what do we get to today? What was the big thing that happened? Yes, it was the gloriousness of the first week of football. And let's start with the game number 1, Chiefs and Ravens. Now, I watched this game, and I'm a fantasy football player, and we'll get to that at the end. I got some fantasy tips. I got some fantasy do's and don'ts, but let's start with the game number 1. Patrick Mahomes did not play like Patrick Mahomes, and he did not have a bad game by any means. He did not have a great game, but it was not a bad game. It was a good one. He won overall. But the Chiefs overall have the Ravens number. And I've said this last year, I said it this year. It will be the same story, end of day. The way you stop the Ravens is you stop Lamar Jackson. If you make him do it with his arm, he will beat you. He will never beat you. He cannot outthrow you, but he can outrun. He ran for over 100 yards, and they gave him those little runs, and they gave him that little bit, but they did not give him the full ability to throw, to get that deep ball and everything. They held him in that check in that point. But Patrick Mahomes did not play like the Super Bowl caliber, but it was a first week. He still pulled out the victory, had some good, and a surprise. Worthy comes out, and the rookie who set the record in the 40-yard dash comes out and just scores a couple touchdowns and shows why he should have been a first round, because he is that quick. He has that explosive power, and he is going to do some great things. Now let's get to the other part that usually has a lot to do with the Chiefs' victory. Travis Kelce. Man, it's like he didn't even show up. I mean, what happened? I mean, he caught a couple passes? I mean, really didn't do anything. As far as the fantasy league, I'm going to say thank you, because I was playing against him this week, and I'm like, thank you, Travis, for not showing up. Now, we all know Swiftie was there herself. She was up in the box. She was not wearing his medallion, his number around her neck anymore. Now, there is some rumors swirling around. I think Fox reported, which give it about a 60-40 if it's true. She has sent over a breakup contract. I don't know what a breakup contract is, but I'm guessing if you have as much money as her, you have to have a breakup contract. You can't just say, it's over, we're done, later. You have to have a breakup contract. Make everything official. You know what I mean? So I guess she's going to make everything official, make everything, and I think maybe it's weighing on him. I mean, he has the stash going, but I mean, come on, man. Let's say what it is. If you're going to break up, let's make news now, not on the bye week. Come on, we got enough to worry about on the bye weeks. But that being said, Chiefs played good. It was a great game. It was a lot of back and forth. You could see why these two were in the AFC Championship last year, while one of them, if not both, will be in the AFC Championship this year. They are great teams. They have a great foundation and great teamwork, they are going to do great things. It's a question of if they can produce like they did last year, it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to seeing the struggle or the competition that will ensue on them. Now, let's go to game 2, Packers and Eagles. Man, I watched that game. That was held in Sao Paulo, Brazil. First game held in Brazil. And I did not know this, but they mentioned it a couple times. Brazil actually has like one of the high, outside of Mexico, the highest concentration of people that love the NFL and love football. I did not know that. I was actually a little shocked and surprised, but you know what? They showed up in full force, had some Eagles gear, had some Packers gear. They were out there. I mean, and you know, the best part about this, I don't know if y'all heard, if y'all were listening to the background, I've been saying this, that this would be awesome, but it sounded like in the background, the announcer for the stadium, he had the Spanish soccer announcer go. Man, I was just like, damn it, I've been saying it for years. It finally happened. I was so excited. I ain't gonna lie. If I'd eaten a full meal that day, I might have shit myself. It really was like that. If I had eaten a lot of protein, I might have shit a brick. That is how happy I was to hear that. I can't explain it any other way. I was just that happy. But the game itself was a whole lot of back and forth. Um, it was a higher scoring, which led me to say on both teams, neither one of them had a solid defense, or maybe the defense just hadn't formed yet or wasn't strong at this point, but they both had high-powered offense. And Saquon Barkley, man, as soon as the Eagles signed him in the offseason, I said it was going to happen, and it did. He was going to be a determining force in the game. 3 touchdowns later in the first week. That man proved me right. And I'm glad he did, because otherwise I would just be a fucking idiot. Excuse the language there. I will try to bleep that out, or I won't. But no, it was just that. I mean, he was a determinant factor. Over 100 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. He was a superstar on the wrong team. He was wasted on the Giants without a lack of defense and lack of leadership in the quarterback role. Now he has both with the Eagles. He has a leadership in Jalen Hurts, and he has a solid offense around him where A.J. Brown can go over there, go deep, and open up the run game. He is going to destroy teams along with the rest of that offense this year. And they did end up winning. They beat the Packers. But it was a glory. I mean, it was a back and forth, took all the way down to the end. And to be honest, it was the last drive. Who knows how it would have been if Hurts had gone down that last play. And we don't know if he was injured bad or injured a little, but we'll find out this week if he plays. We'll see the severity of that injury. They probably had his leg in a gallon of ice, waiting to see if it's going to happen. See if make sure it can't get any worse before they get him back home. Remember, this game was played in Brazil, so getting him back home, it's a hell of a plane ride all the way back up here. So I'm curious to see how it's going to go, because they just got done paying him and they just got done everything. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But the Eagles did pull it out. And I think they did have the better offense, because the defenses really just did everything they could, but nothing fantastic or super. So it's going to be interesting to see both teams. I see both teams in the playoffs, to be honest. As much as a Cowboys fan, as much as it pains me to say, I'm going to see the Eagles in the playoffs. Yes. Now, Dak. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Now, other teams had some great games today. We'll get into that. But let's talk about the Cowboys real quick, because they came out and destroyed the number 1 defense of last year, the Browns. It was like they did not even they didn't exist at that point. So they came out, and, to be honest, Ezekiel Elliott, they ran to him first play, and he did the little hurdle at the beginning. It showed the little shades of greatness that he had the first couple years he was here as a Dallas Cowboy the first time. He is not a first-time Dallas Cowboy. This is his second run with us. But he tried to show rekindle a little bit, and he didn't look bad overall in the game. To be honest, I thought they would be going with Rico more than they would Zeke, but I was shocked that they did not. But they left it in Zeke, kind of did a little one series it's Zeke, one series Rico. And I think that's how they're going to play until a dominant starter emerges and we know who it is. So until that happens, I think we'll see a lot of the back and forth every other series, swap them out. But as far as the defense, I will say I was wrong. It happens every now and again. It does. But man, the defense came out. The defense showed up, and this was my biggest concern, was losing our Dan Quinn, which we had built this defense, that built the powerhouse that is, and Mike Zimmer coming in and it changing not for the better but for the worse. So I was like, oh God, please don't let it happen. But it did not happen. It actually held together, and in all honesty, got a little better. We got a couple picks. We got a fumble recovery. We got a few sacks. I mean, it was a great defensive, we stomped the Browns the first half. It was a slaughterhouse. They got one first down the entire first half. The Cowboys defense was there, and it was hot. So you cannot say that they did not. Now, the offense, to be honest, for a Dak, who signed a contract, his 4-year extension, making him the highest paid quarterback in history. Yes, I said that correctly. But his numbers didn't reflect the highest quarterback in history. I mean, he did not have those 250, 300-yard game. He didn't throw 3 touchdowns. He managed the game, and they won. To be honest, the running game, we had Brandon Cooks get a reception for a touchdown, but then we had a punt return for a touchdown. Aubrey came in with a few field goals. It wasn't Dak. It was a team effort. Dak just managed the team. Now, I'm sure we will see more of Dak in this season, and he will earn that paycheck because he did not throw an interception, and that's what I expect most out of my quarterback in the NFL, is not to throw an interception, and he did not. So I will give it up to him. He managed the game. It did a great job. He overall did as good as you can expect against a defense that can turn the tide on you. So I will say positive things about that. But the Cowboys, like all of the Cowboy fans, my hopes are up. I am excited again. I am like, wow. But of course, we all start out this way. It is around the 16th and 17th week that the Cowboy fans really feel what it is. If our hopes are still up or if we're going to crash. So we'll figure that out in the weeks to come. But I am happy with the first week. Now, as far as other games, the big surprise, Patriots put a whooping on the Bengals. I am so shocked on this. I thought it was going to be a kind of a Patriots coming out, but learning the system, learning what's going to happen. But no, their rookie quarterback came out, managed, did a wonderful job. I mean, I saw it, and it was just amazing. As well as Joe Burrow, the man that was in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, did not even show up. I mean, I have him on my fantasy team, and I was like, I should have played anybody else but him. I could have marched out Minshew and got a better score than that. He did not show up, and you could see it on his face on the sidelines. He did not have what it takes this week. Plain and simple. But that's how it happens. You go in through it. Now, I will tell you the big winner of the day. Let me stay right here. The big winners right now, first and foremost, the Bears defense. The Bears won the game today, and they shouldn't have won because their rookie quarterback did not play for jack and shit. But somehow they pulled it out because of the Bears defense returning, getting a few interceptions, a punt block return. They won the game for their rookie quarterback. And to be honest, it was, I mean, about as good as you can expect. I was playing against the Bears defense, which is why I am so upset about that, because I was not expecting that big ass turn about from the defense, but they did a great job. I can't say they did bad. I mean, that game was all Bears defense because the offense was not having any of it today. Now, another big team, Miami, coming from behind. Yes. I was like, not to mention, yeah, I know the Bears whooping up on Tennessee was a good thing, but Miami coming from the behind to win the game. And it came down to the rookie kicker in the last seconds, winning the game overall. But Miami didn't give up at all. They didn't say, I'm going to be done and walk away. They fought this game. They got a great reception from Hill, coming out with a massive 80-yard touchdown reception. They fought and they never gave up, and they earned that victory. That was a big winner in my. Now, I've already mentioned this a little bit, but the Saints came out and massacred the Panthers. Whew, it was an ass whooping from the very beginning. I mean, like, not even a nice, like, this couldn't have been something that they would enjoy. They're going to go home and they're going to have nightmares about this. It was horrible. I mean, they were firing on all cylinders. David Carr looked like he was a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. Alvin Kamara kept on running. I mean, over 100 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the whole team was firing. Even the defense made them look like they were going to win the Super Bowl this year. I mean, if I'm a Saints fan, I'm getting overly excited, but remember who you're playing. You're playing the worst offense of 2023. So don't get too excited as Saints fans. Let's see what happens whenever you play the Cowboys next week. That'll let you know exactly where you are in this world, because you're going to play a real defense, a real offense, and you're going to see how it is. Now, if you win, I will eat these words right here and there. Now, the big losers of the day. Williams from the Bears, the rookie quarterback, he was astoundingly bad. And I think it was all the noise that he talked throughout the whole preseason and everything that was going on. He made it seem like was the best thing to meet football since Tom Brady. Man, he was sounding like he was the next big thing. And they're watching Hard Knocks. He was it. But he realized real quick whenever he started playing the starting players that it ain't as easy in the real regular season as it is in preseason. He couldn't get away from them players as fast as he could. He couldn't dodge the tackles, got sacked a couple times. He couldn't make it work. Caleb, you're a great quarterback in college, but you got a lot to learn in the NFL. You're not playing the best team in the NFL. You're playing the best players from the best teams in college, and you're going to have to learn that. Now, as far as the biggest loser of the day, Bryce Young, former number 1 overall with the Carolina Panthers. Man, if he had not, I mean, he got his ass handed to him. I mean, he tried to make something happen at the end, but man, he is probably a good quarterback on the worst team in football right now. There's no helping that team. But we will see how it goes down later on. I mean, maybe they'll add some superstar running backs, or they'll add some superstar defensive players, but nobody wants to go play there because they are a losing team. And they're going to continue to lose until they figure it all out. And I don't think coaching is a problem. I think talent is. You got to put some talent over there. Now, we had the winners, we had the losers, but let's talk about the most talked about thing today on the Fox News or Fox Broadcasting. Today was Tom Brady's debut as an announcer. Hold up now. The GOAT quarterback is now going to try his hand at announcing. And it happened to be for the Dallas Cowboy game, so I was glued into it the whole time. Now, let me tell you this, Tom, you are a great quarterback, and the greatest possibly. A lot of people would argue, but I'm going to say your rings speak louder than anything. You are the greatest quarterback, or you will go down as the greatest quarterback in NFL history until somebody beats your records and everything. But when it came to broadcasting, you were thrown into the mix. And there were some entertaining points, the majority of it, but there was no real chemistry built yet, so I can't say that. I will say one thing. Tony Romo was thrown into it, and he was more analytical, and he could basically dissect what was going to happen before it happened. And I think a lot of people were expecting the same from Brady because of how good he was on the field. But when it came to actually, he made a few things. He was like, man, they're going to run it here. And then they pass it. Or he was like, I mean, they're going to go to the right. They go to the left. I mean, he made those assumptions. I mean, I don't know if he was trying to kill airtime or what, but he was not on point. Like Romo was saying, no, look at this up here. They're going to watch. They're going to catch them and they're going to do this. They're going to go over here. They're going to, and they would. And you'd be blown away. You're like, man, it's like he was calling the shot like Babe Ruth, calling his shot. That's how Romo came out. And I think a lot of people were expecting the same with Tom Brady because of how good he was. And I'm not saying he was bad. He was entertaining. It was, he had a lot of insights on it and he spoke very well. And I'm sure the second and third week are going to be better. This was his first gig as an announcer. So let's give him credit where credit is due and call it a day. All right. I am going to, let's see. I got all the goodies right here. I'm going to hold up real quick, take a quick second, rehydrate the fun things. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to finish up with some fantasy talk because of everybody listening. We know fantasy football is just as big as the NFL, if not bigger. Everybody plays it. A lot of people play 2 or 3 kinds of leagues. So let's get with the people to watch in the upcoming week. And if you have them on your waiver, if you have top priority, you're going to want to pick these players. We'll be right back. Right in, we are back. And as promised, I have some watch list for the upcoming weeks. If you have not added these, if you're having troubles, be on the lookout for these players because this is going to be my pick, and I think everybody needs to watch out. Now, number one, if you need a quarterback, if your quarterback took a complete dump like mine did this week, you're going to watch out for these 2 quarterbacks. First and foremost, Baker Mayfield. If you don't already have him and he is available, I would pick him. Projected to get around 17 points this week. He jumped up and got almost 30. The man did it with a few touchdown passes, hellified yards. I mean, he did what he was expected to do, or actually what nobody expected him to do, because he has a very low pick as far as people that have him on the team. People didn't expect him to come out and did, but he just went out and threw it, got it done. Now, he was playing a brand new head coach with Dan Quinn against Washington, which they kind of started. So we will see how it happens in the upcoming weeks, but let's see how that goes. Now, the second quarterback I'm going to keep an eye on. Now, you heard me tell earlier how New Orleans destroyed Carolina. A lot of that had to do with David Carr. He showed up. He did a great job. A lot of people are avoiding him, putting him on his team because of the past. He hadn't shown up like anybody you'd want on your fantasy team, but give it a chance. Make sure that if he can do this every single week, then he's worth a spot on your team, at least, if nothing else, to fill in that bye week for your starter. So definitely keep an eye on him. Now, as far as running backs go, let me pull my little list up here. Justice Hill is at the top of my list. Ravens. While, yes, Derrick Henry is the starter of the Ravens, Derrick Henry did not really produce. He got himself a touchdown, but outside of that, he did not look like the Derrick Henry of past. He looked like your average everyday running back that's going to get you about 40, 50 yards, maybe a touchdown whenever they're in the 5-yard line of the goal, which will get you points. But it looked like the workload was kind of being handled by Justice Hill. He got some more playing time. He was expected to get about 4 or 5 points, ended up getting 11. So I see nothing but upside on him. And if they continue to go that route, they're going to use Henry in short situations and kind of lean more towards him on the passing down. And if you're in a PPR, he could lead to more points, especially on a flex. Now, I would not make him your starter, but a definite flex could produce under the right teams. Now, he was playing against Kansas City, which has a great defense, and he still outproduced Derrick Henry. That should tell you. Now, the next couple weeks will tell you what you need to know about if he's going to be worth a spot on your team or if he's not going to be worth anything at all. So, but do keep an eye on him. Now, wide receivers. Alec Pierce. Keep an eye on him from Indianapolis. He came out and he was projected around 7 points today, and he still came out and got 21. That is real good. And you have a brand new rookie quarterback that is developing relationships with his wide receivers. Don't know who the number one is going to be, but that definitely ring a bell as one of his favorites coming out and getting it done, making the points, getting the receptions. Worth an eye. If you are having crap luck with wide receivers, definitely worth a look, especially if you need one. Now, number one on my list, and I've already claimed him on my waivers. Hopefully I get him because I'm not number one. Isaiah Likely, Baltimore tight end. He is not the starting tight end, but he was sure as hell playing like he was, because even him making that fantastic catch at the very end, literally a toe away from tying the game and sending it to overtime or going for 2 and winning it all. I mean, the man came out and played. Even though he got a little banged up there at one point, he still stayed in the game and got it done. He got 26 points on his outing, and this is as a backup, and this is after the starter got hurt last year. He came in and played. As far as the receivers go on the Baltimore offense, he was the only one that really showed any chemistry with Lamar Jackson. And I think in the future, he is going to be that guy. He is going to be the one that Lamar Jackson goes to, that's his safety net, that he's going to be looking for. And if you do not have him, this is the only must pick up right now. You got to go draft him. You got to get him on the waivers. You got to get him if he's not already gotten. Because if everybody else is already looking at him, even if you're not. So that's my lookouts for him. Now, as far as fantasy, I came out pretty good. I am in 2 leagues. One, just a regular league, but I wanted to play my second league. I want to play the better. I want to play boosted up. I want to get the best of the best to play against me. So I got into a better league. These are experienced players, and man, that's the one I got Joe Burrow on. He took a complete dump on my entire game. I expected him to produce way more, which I'm already in the looks for a quarterback, which it couldn't have been worse. I had Caleb Williams as my backup because I was really expecting more of a performance than that we got from him. And I still think we will get it. I may have been first game jitters, may have been just weird. I don't know why he did not do that, but we will see in the upcoming weeks if he is going to be a future quarterback for the Bears or if he's going to be a busted first round draft. So that is what I got as far as fantasy. Now you're always going to want to, I was like, keep an eye on the waiver wire. Keep an eye on players. Now, after the first week, this is what I always know. There's always people that are going to drop people they shouldn't because they had one bad game. I'm not one of those. I tend to hold on to my players. I'm one of those that I still think you should go out and get Nick Chubb. The Browns they did not have any running game today. And I think Nick Chubb coming back, if you do not have him, if you're not picking him up and just putting him on the bench until he comes out in 3 weeks, you are a fool, because the Browns with no running game at all, he's going to come in there and he's going to do what Nick Chubb did. And he's going to run and he's going to be out to prove something. And his first game back, I'm going to say it right now, I think he's going to get at least 15 to 20 points with at least one touchdown. That is what I'm predicting for him. So if you do not have him right now on your team, on your bench, on anything, go get him. Because if you don't, you're going to be sorry. Even if you have nothing and need a good flex, he's going to make a great starter, but he's going to make an awesome flex. So go grab him while you can. Now, the ones that already have good running backs, like me, I'm not great, but I have decent running backs. But I still drafted Nick Chubb in both of my leagues. I got him in the 15th and 16th rounds because nobody's taking him, because he's injured, because he's not going to play for 3 weeks. But guess what? In 3 more weeks, he's going to come out and he's going to produce. That is my thought. That is what I think is going to happen. So we will see if I'm right. And if I'm right, I'm going to be on here in 4 weeks talking all the smack that y'all should have been listening to me. But you got my do's and don'ts. Now, the one thing that I think, my personal opinion. Now, CeeDee Lamb came out and he did not produce like CeeDee Lamb. Dak did not produce like Dak. Now, in 2 weeks, they will not need such a stronghold defense. They will have that chemistry back, and they will be playing. Now, CeeDee Lamb will probably be there next week. He's not going to take long. He's CD. That man is top 3 receiver in the league. He's going to make you your points. Don't be scared. Don't bench him. Don't think that you made a mistake by drafting him. He's going to produce no matter what. Now, as far as everything else going around, Stafford didn't do a bad job, but still, he's a good quarterback for a bye week. He's not a great. Sorry. Yeah, I know he won a Super Bowl, but he's at the end of his career. I mean, get some of them that in their prime. Like I said, Baker Mayfield, if he is available, go grab him. He has got a chip on his shoulder, and he is ready to get it off. So, that being said, all things do come to an end. All wonderfulness. And my time is up here. I was like, I like to keep it short, keep it sweet, and of course, leave room for things. But I am going to advance and do a little more with the new equipment. I will be going on Twitch, so you can watch this live. And my live, I'm only going to include a couple times a week, but I'm also going to include one that's only available to my subscriber on Twitch. So keep an eye on that. And again, if you haven't been to our website, www.beaboutitpodcast.com. It's right there. Boom. Go check it out. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see more of. By us, I mean me. I do it all. I'm a jack of all trades when it comes to this, but I do enjoy it, love it. Thank you for all the feedback. Thank you for all the message that I've gotten. So going forward with the new equipment, new fun, we're going to see what we can do on this. But again, on this show, I don't just talk about it. I be about it. So y'all have a great one, and we will see y'all next week.